Shut up and sit down.
It's where the big boys play. Sicw.
All right, everybody, welcome to Spread Read Podcast, episode 103. And up front, before we get in, we finally gathered all the subscribers we lost. We're back up to what we were prior to whatever got their panties in a twist. Yeah, you never know. Probably WWE fans don't like the way that we talk about it. No. Jim
No, it's
Hoffarth,
probably
we love you all.
AEW fans.
It
AEW
was,
fans take things personal real quick.
it was actually probably the WWE fans that agreed with us about their ticket gouging that we talked about heavily last week. That's probably what it was.
But the one
It's
thing I do
definitely
want to say
not.
is,
It's definitely not the WCW fans. We're all cool.
oh, I do want to talk about something is all of our Legends wrestling matches that are going out are getting less views than our actual podcast with the three of us just blabbering about stuff. So people still need to go and watch those.
Yeah, of course.
Or they're just finding you more interested, Nate.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
if you're new to this channel, this is the Squared Ring Podcast. My name is the Big Texan. We got Bobby D, and we got the Squared Ring. He didn't come with a name. We call him Nasty Nate, but sometimes nameless is better.
I thought we called him Diddy.
Diddy. That was a long time ago. We gotta change it up.
You gotta have throwbacks to the classics so people go back and watch them still.
Oh, throwbacks. Nice. But anyway,
Diddy before he ended up getting all sexual.
Yeah, before.
Allegedly, we don't want to get sued again.
Anyway, if you're just catching on to this channel, if it's on your For You page, we talk heavily about the St. Louis local wrestling scene, dominantly Sicw, because me and Bobby D are wrestlers in that locker room. Of course, we've gone many places before, but we also like to talk about some other promotions in the area, whether it be World League Wrestling. Well, let me take that back. NWA. WLW. But it'll always be Harley Race's World League Wrestling to a select few. But Midwest Wrestling Coalition, catching a few of their shows.
ICW.
Yeah, and there's a few other New Breed Wrestling, Show Me State Wrestling. I haven't caught one of their shows yet, but I know they use a lot of the local talent. And then we also throw in some tidbits of WWE, AEW, sometimes some TNA, just whatever wrestling news that hits the internet. So with that,
And plus, we're all a bunch of kids, and we do toy reveals and things like that at the end of the show.
definitely.
And remember, what we say is our own personal opinions, and that doesn't reflect Sicw, Wrestling at the Chase, or anything else that we talk about, or have licensing rights to use, which we do, and you'll find that on our YouTube page and on Jim's page, and if Bobby wasn't so busy, on his page.
So as we're recording this, is actually Tuesday, so I was able to watch Monday Night Raw. A lot of recap, and we
I'll say before we get to that, I know you've had a lot of issues with this guy, but we got to do a shout out to the International Bounty Hunter doing a tour in Japan right now. You want to talk about Sicw and their guys being big time? There's one right there.
Yeah, he's been sending a lot of pictures here lately of everything that he's seen and the wrestling venues that he's been wrestling at. He's over there tagging with Pondo right now. If you're in the St. Louis area, you definitely know who Pondo is. Madman Pondo. But yeah, he's out there killing it. And, even if you like him or hate him, you got to give him props for doing his thing and being able to go overseas. And, that's a lot of wrestlers' dreams, is to go over to Japan.
Now, I got to ask you, Texan, with you holding a victory over him, does that make you feel like you need to go over there, and show them what's up again.
Well, I mean, like I said, it's every wrestler's dream to go to Japan. So I would love to. I don't know if I'm able to, though. So that'll be the thing there. But since we are talking about Japan, and we talked a little bit about WLW, I just want to tell you a small story of me and Harley Race. So Harley Race would, God love him, he's since passed, but he would frequent our shows. Him and Larry Matisek were friends. Him and Herb Simmons were friends. So there was a couple times that he's come through and just hung out with us, and sometimes he was on TV or the matches. But this one particular time, in our locker room, we have a small little room, and this is the old locker room, not at the Belleville Fairgrounds. But in the old locker room, there was another smaller room that had a table, and that's normally where the guests would come, whatever legends they're coming in. And Harley Race was sitting at the table, and the show's going on, but I either already had my match or my match was, coming up on later. But my goal is every time there's a legend in the house is to sit with him, talk with them, learn something about the business from them. That's the best way to do it. What they always say is keep your mouth shut, your ears open. So I sat down with Harley Race. Now, mind you, everyone in the locker room could sit down, but they're not. So I'm sitting down and I'm talking to him and I'm asking a few questions. And one of the questions I asked, I said, "What was your favorite place to wrestle?" And he told me Japan was. And so the obvious question was, well, why Japan? You've been all over the world. Why Japan? And he told me, he goes, that's where you go to see if you have what it, how do you put it? That's where you go to see if you have what it takes. And it stumped me. I was like a little confused. And I said, well, why is that? And he goes, over here in America, when the heel does something, he gets booed. When the baby does something, he gets cheered. Over in Japan, it's dead silence. So when you're wrestling and you're going through your moves or whatever you got to do to go through the match, you don't know how the fans are reacting to it. What at the end of the match, and they either cheer or boo, that's how you know if you did a good job or not. And he said he would always love to go there because it's like a test. So you go there, you wrestle, you try to put the audience, or you try to get the audience into the match by doing whatever you got to do within the match, but you don't really know if you did it well until the end, where they either stood up and cheered and clapped, or they stood up with the fingers thumb down, booing you. So he said he loved that because, everywhere else you would go, they would cheer or boo you throughout the whole thing. But you never knew.
Almost like you had to, in the States, you can adjust as you go. But over there, you have to really be confident in what you're doing.
Right. So,
well, and then I've remastered some of the matches in Japan that NWA and Wrestling at the Chase wrestlers went over there and did. They weren't just silent; they threw things into the ring, and they threw things at the wrestlers when they're walking back. So if they didn't like you, they would throw shit at you.
Well, I mean that's
not as much as Puerto
anywhere.
Rico though. Yeah, not as much as Puerto Rico.
Yeah, Puerto Rico was known to throw number twos at you and buckets of piss, and I even heard they would heat up coins and toss, throw coins at you to try to burn you. So it's different, crazy out there. It's crazy. But yeah, so got to give Attila props, love him or hate him. He's out there in Japan right now doing his thing. But yeah, so Monday Night Raw, there's two things I really want to talk about. The rest of the show was really just, keep going with the storylines. But at the beginning of the show, John Cena opened up again like he did last Monday, and he just kept going. And, everyone said that this was a big thing with him turning heel, but since then everyone's come out, oh, he's always been a heel. He was just baby facing it up for the camera, which is probably true because he was the face of WWE for a long time. But I think he's a really good heel. His promo last night, um, really struck a chord with the audience. And that's one thing about Netflix. They're not silencing the F-bombs and the cuss words and everything like that USA used to do. And there was no way they could have silenced them last night because there's just chance upon chance. I talked about last Monday how John Cena pointed to a kid that was wearing his shirt and his hat, and at one point the camera pointed out to him, and he was like mouthing, I love you, Cena, and that's when he basically went all jerk on the kid, saying, I got you, I got you to spend money on my merchandise, and I don't care either, but you spent your money, your hard-earned money, and last night he just kept going on, and it was a great promo. Definitely pulling in the heat. Definitely making that main event for WrestleMania. Cena versus Cody really means something because
30 days away, next month.
Yeah, it's in April. We're in the season. It's just cool how he switched like that.
I say, and to go along with that, we have talked previously about what's he going to do if he wins the title. He said last night, he's going home with the title.
Yeah.
That they can create a new title and there'll be a fake champion because he's taking it and he's going home.
I'm still sticking to he's not leaving till December. I think he wants to milk some more money, which I would if I were him. He doesn't need it, but I think he should do it.
Well, there's even thoughts that they're going to create, because there's 4 main pay-per-views. And then they've been dabbling with different names for different pay-per-views here lately over the last couple of years, taking names away, putting new ones in there, war games and stuff like that. There was even talks that they were going to name one of the pay-per-views before he leaves after him. So it's just weird, but I really do think that a heel Cena versus a babyface Cody Rhodes is the way to go. Because if it was baby John Cena versus a baby Cody Rhodes, I don't think it would draw as much as it's going to now.
So are they going to name it Flip Flopper because Cena came in as a heel, then he went babyface, now he's back to heel?
Well,
He could just be a politician.
As someone who started his wrestling career out as a heel and just recently, the past few years, have been pretty much considered a baby with heel tendencies, is what I call it. But I can't really hold anything against him. Hopefully he sees the light before he leaves. You never know. He might do this just to get the belt and then get back on the good side of the fans just to have that swan song as he leaves.
I'm waiting for Bobby to become a heel so he can do his "This is Sparta" kick somebody out the ring.
Well, I'm pretty sure I was a heel longer than Texan by a couple of years.
Oh, yeah. That's when your head was shaved or really, really cropped up.
That's when there was a bunch of little D's walking around. There was Frankie D, there was the D that we won't mention, and then there's a few other D's that was hanging around. Little family group there. But
if I had a fan, they were called Little D Heads.
Great shirts, though. That would be great shirts.
But so that was an excellent promo. Of course, Cody Rhodes came out and was talking about how he's not going to get the belt from him or the people. Basically saying he's the people's champion, and him and the people will defend that belt at WrestleMania, and they will walk out, of WrestleMania with the belt. But it was a good back and forth. Almost thought we were going to get a scrap because John Cena walked out, was walking away, and then did that whole let's go ahead and turn back around and come back to the ring thing just to hit them one more time, but then they left. But that was really good. I really liked that. The storyline with Rhea Ripley and Bianca Blair and was it Leo? Yeah. That continued on. Last Monday, there was a contract signing, and Rhea Ripley interrupted, and then took the clipboard with the contract and signed her name on it. So last night they talked about it and said that next Monday there's going to be a match between Rhea and Leo Sky. It's going to be her return. What do they call it? It's a return match. What?
Her rematch clause?
Yeah, her rematch clause. And then whoever wins that, Sky will wrestle. So, just continue on with that. But one thing I don't think anyone's talking about, this is a tour overseas, and both Monday Night Raws, basically, Rick Steiner's son, has basically main event both of them. And last night's main event, he took on Penta, and it was a great match. You got that Mexican style that Penta brings to the fold now, and you got what are they calling him now? I forgot. Is it Braun? No, it's not Braun, is it? Yeah, Braun Breaker, right? Yeah. So he's got that, man, he's built like a football player. That's, of course, what he did, too, for a while. And he's just got that, I'm going to beat you. I'm going to rip your arms off and beat you with them, type of wrestling style. And he definitely got from his old man and his uncle, the Steiner brothers, That's one thing I just don't know is why didn't they call him a Steiner? They had them introduce his dad and his uncle when they got into the WWE Hall of Fame. Everyone knows he's a Steiner.
Money. They can own the Braun Breaker name. They can't own the Steiner name.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, but he definitely a Steiner. And there's another one coming up. Scotty has his son who's currently playing football, and he's already signed to the WWE. So they're actually going to do the training on him and get him up and running. But yeah, it was a great match back and forth. A little bit of stumble in the middle of the match with Breaker. I guess he got kicked out of one side of the ring, but wanted to do something on the other side. And it looked a little awkward, but they got the dance back up and going. And then the Judgment Day, Finn Balor and Carlito and Dirty Dom came out and, of course, interrupted it. But because the whole night they were talking about Dirty Dom was trying to get Penta to join the group and offered him, a seat at the table. Actually, towards the end of the match, I think the match was over. All of them ganged up on Breaker. Penta was on the side hurt, but then Penta got up, and at this point, Dom had already grabbed a steel chair and gave it to Penta and told him to hit Breaker with it. And if he did, that would be the sign that he was going to join the group. Of course, true babyface fashion, he didn't and started trying to get up on Dirty Dom, and then they just attacked them both. But then Breaker came back alive and kind of finished them off. So it was a good Monday Night Raw. I really think the Cena and Cody Rhodes is what's really going to catapult it. CM Punk came out. That's one. That's the thing that was on my mind is you got these people over there. You had Roman Reigns, a couple weeks ago. You had CM Punk's over there. John Cena's over there. Cody's over there. And ain't none of them wrestling. They're just a mouthpiece the last couple of weeks. But I guess it's given Braun Breaker time to shine. So I guess more power because he puts on a really good match. And
that could be part of what they're doing, testing him out. Like, can he be the main event? Can he take over?
yeah, definitely. And I was thinking all that as I was watching the matches, knowing that he was the main event.
And what's interesting is since the others haven't wrestled, the numbers are starting to go up. I mean, it might be attributed to the fact that what's going to be happening in a month, but I mean, with Breaker in there, they're
Well, my biggest complaint that I had over the last few weeks is that it's always been the five guys wrestling each other. Some combination of the five guys. So at least this is doing what I asked. It's breaking it up. It's showcasing other people. So
and
yeah,
more people are watching.
yeah, um, yeah. So all in all, it was a good show to watch, um, and I think it's just going to carry the storylines on to WrestleMania.
I know Bobby had some ideas about who they're pushing, and he doesn't understand why. You want to get into that one, Bobby?
Which one was I talking about? So I remember saying it earlier.
The girl, Valorant.
Oh, Valkyrie, yeah.
Valkyrie.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, she's forgettable. I mean, she
has
just
nothing to do with the screwdriver with a beer chaser. Nothing to do with it.
no. Like, I'm bored with her anytime. Like, she is a decent gymnast, not even like a Ricochet caliber gymnast. Like, her matches don't have psychology. She's very, very undersized even for the girls division. Like, I don't get it. But
how can you be undersized and still slow?
Exactly. That's my point.
Well, even if I had to criticize something, when Bianca Belair was Belair, right? Bianca Belair and Rhea and Sky was out there doing the talk about the matches next week and what's headed to WrestleMania. There was even a spot there that Sky was on the corner post on the top rope, and it just looked kind of bad. It just looked well planned out that she was going to run up and use Bianca to get onto the other girl, and it, like I said, it just looked a lot predetermined or planned out.
But it looked cool.
Yeah. That high spot really got it over. Let's see here.
All right, let's move on to what we're doing.
Yeah, definitely. So SICW, this belt over on the right of me is going to be put on the line this Saturday at the Shriners. So it's a little bit different. Was it doors open up? Well, let me see. 4 o'clock.
It was changed from 4. Doors open at 4. Starts at 5. And we keep forgetting, and you reminded us that we need to get into it. So before we forget again, children under 12, right, are coming in for free.
12 and under.
Yeah, 12 and under. So yeah, we got the girls match. We got my match going on. I'm sure Bobby D is going to have a match. We know the classic title is on the line. Kowalski's defending his title. I'm defending the Shriners title. I'm not too sure if the tag team straps are going to be on the line or not. More than likely they are, because I don't see them missing a date. But Lilith Khan is wrestling, and I think this is only her second match in SICW. Pretty sure it's her second match. So it's going to be interesting to see how she goes, because is it the third?
Who are you talking about? Are you talking about Magnolia? Or are you talking about?
She did the tag match, and she did Searcher's wife, right?
Yeah.
It's not Searcher's wife. It's his daughter.
Oh.
That would have been
some relation to Searcher. Sorry, Searcher.
So her third match for SICW. But Yeah, Magnolia. Speaking of Japan, she just came back from Japan, so I'm sure she's got a little extra energy and probably learned a thing or two over there because it's a very strong style of wrestling. So it's going to be interesting to see if Lilith can actually dominate this match, or someone who just came back from Japan is going to dominate her. But it's definitely going to be a great show. Remember, 12 and under kids are free. It's $20 to get in for the adults. Of course, they're going to have beer on tap as always. Um, let's see here. It is in East St. Louis, but this place is well guarded, well protected. The parking lot's all fenced in and it's watched over by a watchman. So definitely safe. And that's why the early bell time as well, so we can get you in.
And just to touch on that, we've been going there, what, 4 years?
Yeah, something like
We
that.
go there.
Great.
They take us to their private bars and stuff well after dark and everything. Never heard of a single issue.
Yeah, I mean, it's
And
right
lots
off
of
the
kids are down there as well. No issues.
But yeah, definitely a great show. Do recommend you guys coming out for it. If anything, this is the first SICW show where the kids are free. 12 and under. I've never heard of that before, so it's gonna be nice.
And that's what, like, you think about what this organization is, the Shriners, and what they do for kids and the children's hospitals. Like, you can't ask for a better place to contribute to and donate money to and help out.
Yeah, definitely. So we got that show. Of course, that's this Saturday. And then the following Saturday, which is April 5th, we have a great show for you too. Because it all did, the April 5th show determines, well, I guess this Saturday's show determines who Bobby is actually going to challenge for the classic strap. So as it states right now, it's Kowalski versus Bobby. But that's
currently the champion, but it can, like you say, it can change.
Yes. So definitely the other guy could actually get over on Kowalski and take that classic strap from him, and then you'll be facing him on the 5th. But either way, Bobby has got a crack at the classic championship, so that's what we're proud of, and definitely going to back.
And the other main event?
Huh?
Bobby is one main event. It's a double main event on the 5th. What's the other one?
Yeah, so as the picture shows, we got Brandon Beretta versus Joey Venonetta. I almost butchered his last name.
That's okay. I thought you were going to say Joey Botafuco for a minute. So.
Wow, that's dating you. Like, really?
Back in time.
Yes. But anyway, so the Top Guns, as the picture shows, they exploded. Something's going on with Brandon. Either he's getting a big head or he is tired of carrying Joey around on his back. You never know.
Getting a big head. Look at that melon in that picture.
Well, he's moving on to NWA, so it could be the head.
Like that head is double the size of Joey's in that picture.
Of course, here on the podcast, Brandon has been on many a times, and we know he is going places. WLW, well, NWA, WLW just posted that it's going to be him versus, what's his name? I can't believe I forgot it.
Chair shot.
Moose?
No. No, he's was in the WWF, WWE, but man, was trained by Harley Race. I can't believe him.
Trevor Murdoch.
Trevor Murdoch. Yes. So he's got a date with Destiny with Trevor Murdoch, so that would be a good match to see. Might have to make a trip back out to WLW. I missed him last month, hit him the month before. It's a great building. As soon as you walk into that building, you got Harley Race's posters from when he was in the NWA and WWF, and his championship is actually in the office. And as you walk by, you can clearly see his championship hanging on the wall. So that's always a good time when you can go through that building, just a historical fact of that building. But so that's going to be a great match. But before he meets Trevor Murdoch, he's got to take on Joey, and should be a good one because, as I stated before, they both trained together from the very get-go up until this moment, so they both know each other's moves. And as a tag team, you learn to think like the other person, so it's going to be interesting to see
Yeah,
what
but
happens.
Brandon's been training with EC3 for the past few months too, so he has a few extra
Yeah,
tricks.
so you might have a little upper hand, but don't count out Joey.
No.
But yeah, so that moves us on to FanFest. I was just talking to Herb today about it. Looks like the tickets are going well, selling well. So definitely, if you haven't got your tickets yet, I don't know what you're waiting for, because the legends that he's got round up, you just don't see this mix. I mean,
I say,
front and center, you got Kevin Von Erich. That's a rarity right there.
I say your picture is not up to date from what Herb has on here. You're missing quite a bit.
Well, I'm sure this is just a handful, but
yeah, this is just a promotional one.
Yeah,
There's
so
another one I don't have yet.
it's got Greg the Hammer Valentine, which we're gonna touch up on tonight. We're gonna talk a little bit of Sabu tonight as well, so it's great that we're gonna have him. Bill Alfonso is going to be there. Of course, he was the manager of Sabu for a long time. Shane Douglas is going to be there. Of course, we talked pretty heavily about him last week. And then you got the likes of Gangrel and Tito Santana, so it's definitely, I know the Rock and Roll, yeah, they're on the card there. Rock and Roll Express is there. So it's going to be a great fan fest, just like the other two that we had. Except for it's going to be better because it's a better location directly across the street from the airport. So if you have to fly here, you can just ride that free shuttle to the hotel and get your seat and start meeting some legends. But definitely, it's a Friday and Saturday show. So Friday night we have that get together. Nate, you got that guy's name? Because I always forget it.
Bill Apter?
Yeah, Bill Apter. So he's a great, he's a throwback to a song and dance man, but his wrestling history and knowledge is unforgettable. He definitely knows his stuff. Of course, he was a writer for wrestling for a long time, creating multiple magazines.
But this time's different from last time. This time it's Q&A, where last time he put on a one-man show. So he's not doing a one-man show. This time he's doing Q&A with the legends that are attending.
Yeah, so, and that's what I'm really interested in making sure that I get my seats to, because the stories, just like the one I told you earlier about Harley Race, that's where you learn that stuff. You sit down and you listen to them tell their road stories. Tell them about different time periods in their life, or what was like Tito Santana winning the Intercontinental Championship. So it's different stories like that that really make memories for me. Plus, Saturday you get to meet them. So, and we already pointed out, and I'll point it out again, it is much more affordable to go to our Fan Fest than it is to even buy a cheap seat at Backlash that's coming in St. Louis. As I said before, it's $100 just for the tippy top of the building, the nosebleed section. And, for $100, you can pretty much get every single thing that's happening on the Fan Fest. The Friday night show for the Fan Fest part, the wrestling show, the Hall of Fame inductions. You get to meet these people. You get to talk to them. You get to have their autographs, their pictures.
And not only that, the condition for the legends coming in is they have to keep their autograph prices and picture prices reasonable and affordable for the people of St. Louis. That's a big thing.
You bundle it all together, it's $85.
Yeah.
And if you want to do just part of it, it's even cheaper.
Yeah. So $85 to have 2 nights with your legends that you looked up as kids, or future stars that's in the business right now. You know, hands down, I would choose that over watching WWE in my home city. Plus, the nosebleeds. Come on, you can't see shit when you're in the nosebleeds. I would rather watch it on TV and have that up close video footage than sit in the very top of the building and having to watch their videos because you can't see the damn ring.
I'll say I've sat in the
You know, not
nosebleeds
to
at
knock
Royal Rumble.
WWE, but
I sat in the nosebleeds at Royal Rumble, and that's exactly what you're saying. I ended up watching the Titan, or not Titan John, but that screen up in the middle more than what was down in the ring because you couldn't tell what was going on.
yeah.
At that
Plus,
point, like,
well, I love to hear the commentary, and you can't hear the commentary when you're there at the live shows. It's always bugged me that you can't hear it because sometimes they add a lot to the matches. They get you pumped up. You know, you don't get that when you're watching it, especially from the far back. So you know, Backlash. I'm probably going to be at home watching it on TV. You know, it's it's a no-brainer for me. I already get you know, Peacock, so I already get their free pay-per-views anyway. Might also do that. But yeah,
yeah,
so
let's get back into Greg here. But I found something you might not have. You seen this one before? This
yeah,
figure of Greg the Hammer Valentine with his robe.
yeah, that'll be a nice one to get. What does it say that figure is available at?
It's auction, but it's not boxed. You just get the figure with the robe.
Oh, that's still cool.
Yep.
So yeah, so each week I've been doing a little deep dive on someone at our fan fest, one of the legends. You know, last week was Shane Douglas. Week before that was all the Russians. But this week I pulled Greg the Hammer Valentine, and I pulled him because he used to wrestle, and his dad used to wrestle at Wrestling at the Chase. You know, Herb Simmons sent us a picture with him with a microphone in front of him. That was from Wrestling at the Chase. Um, and there's a picture of Herb Simmons right there. But Greg's dad is, of course, Johnny Valentine, which was a well-known, famous wrestler back in the early 60s.
And if you want to see any of Johnny Valentine's matches, go to our YouTube page and you can see full matches there of Johnny. Some good old black and white and some Wrestling at the Chase.
Besides that stuff, he also wrestled on the independents in the St. Louis area. So he's kind of like Bob Orton to us as well. So, matter of fact, me and Bobby together went to the Belleville Fairgrounds and watched Greg the Hammer Valentine take on Bob Orton Jr. In a steel cage match. And it was, you know, we weren't wrestlers then, or we might have been starting to get in the business, one of the two.
I was not training yet. I think you went through your first round of training, but I had not started yet.
So what was cool about it is because we're watching as fans, and then we got, or at least I got to hear the backstory of it. So watching as fans, you know, this was actually a Frank Root promotion that put this show on, and not the dog Frank or anything because he's since passed, and he gave me and Bobby both a shot wrestling for him. So, but the cage they used was pretty janky. You know, at one point in the cage match, one side of the cage, the whole side fell down, and you know, they had to hurry up and put it back together as they're wrestling in it. And it was pretty funny, but it started.
Well, if I remember correctly, though, too, as they were trying to set it up, one of the RCW guys that was running wrestling it climbed it while they were trying to set it up and messed it up from the get-go.
Yeah, so but anyway, it was a pretty funny show because Greg, of course, comes out and he's in the ring and we're waiting for Bob. 10 minutes rolls around, still waiting for Bob. And then all of a sudden we see this limo drive into the fairgrounds. and this limo drives all the way into this was in the racetrack. It was an outside show. So it drives into the racetrack, and Bob gets out of it and goes straight to the ring and starts wrestling Greg. And, it was definitely a show because Bob could still go at the time. And of course, Greg he could probably still go now. But that's as a fan's perspective. And then being in the business and finding out that Bob had forgot that he was booked that night. And literally, like 30 minutes before before his match was supposed to go on, they're frantically trying to get a hold of Bob. And Bob is, at home tipping back a few, not giving a shit about the world. And then finally, the right person calls him, and he answers, and and they say, "Hey, you got a show, and you're on in 30 minutes." And so Bob comes flying out of his house and gets that show. And it was so funny because it was actually Herb Simmons that actually booked Bob for the show. A lot of people don't know that sometimes the promoter is not the one that helps book their show. So, like, Bob is very close to Herb. So all of Bob's bookings pretty much go through Herb. So if you want to book Bob, you got to go through Herb. So that's how they went there. But yeah, it was so funny to hear that Bob had totally forgot about the show, went about his Saturday night, tipping a few back and totally forgetting about it all, and then having to speed from where he lives out in St. Louis to come to Belleville to wrestle Greg the Hammer Valentine. But yeah, so on Greg, so he, unlike last week's episode where we talked about Shane Douglas and how Shane Douglas created a revolution, some wrestlers just have a solid career. There was nothing that that you can say that was a game changing in Greg's career, but he had a solid career because he was a wrestler. He was a wrestler's wrestler, and he was trained right off the bat really well because being a son of a legendary wrestler, of course, most wrestlers don't want their sons to grow up in the business. We talked to Travis Orndorff and how he felt about the business. It's the same thing. Greg wanted to get into the business. His dad did not want him to, but after bugging him for a long time, he knew he was going to get into the business regardless. So he sent him to Stu Hart. So he got his training the hard way. Because have you ever heard the stories about Stu Hart and stretching people? Because he was a stretcher, he was a hooker back in the day, meaning he can get your body in positions to where you're either crying or tapping out or both or screaming, "Holy shit!" Because you hear the stories about it all the time about the kids, Brett or Owen, listening to the grown men downstairs screaming for God Almighty because they're in so much pain from Stu Hart putting them in a hold. So he got his start.
That might have been Johnny Valentine's last attempt to keep him from wrestling. Like, all right, you're not going to survive this. I'll send you to Stu.
But yeah, so he started there with Stu out in Calgary. And then to top that all off, I don't know if you ever heard of stories about the original Sheik, not Sabu, but I don't even think it's Sabu's. Get me.
I thought he said it's his uncle.
Yeah, okay. I was gonna say I don't think it was his dad, but yeah, it might be his uncle. But if you think Attila gets away with taking silverware out and getting you. The original Sheik would do everything. He would throw fireballs at you. He would cut you. It was forks. It was knives. It was really he could honestly be the first hardcore wrestler. A lot of people give him credit for that. Some say it was Mick Foley, but Mick Foley just popularized it. the original Sheik was the guy, and he was feared. You know, back before his promotion folded, you know, a lot of other promotions tried to dabble in other people's territories. No one wanted to do it in his because they were afraid of him. So right off the bat, you know, the training that Greg got, you know, was great from Stu. Got the hard nosed training and the psychology part from the Sheik. So right off the bat, you knew he was going to be great. Let's see here. 5 decades he wrestled. Around 40 championships he's held. Just to name a few: NWA United States Heavyweight Champion, NWA World Tag Team Champions with Ric Flair, WWF World Tag Team Champions. He was a tag champion with Brutus the Barber Beefcake, WWF Intercontinental Champion, and that's just the name a few. So when he started wrestling, he actually had his first match in 1970. So 8 years before I was even a twinkle in my daddy's eye, as they say. So he started wrestling. He didn't want to carry on his father's name right at the gate, and a lot of them don't. You know, when you have such a famous father, you want to try to make your own way, and that's what he was trying to do. So he started wrestling under other different names, but a popular name was a tag team. He was Johnny Fargo. Um, so he was part of the Fargo brothers, and that was a very popular name back in the days. Oh, his first moniker name was Babyface Nelson. Ain't that cool? Little mob, a little thing there. But so he started wrestling, and then he thought he was good enough to possibly carry the name. So he became Greg the Hammer Valentine. And it was funny too, because it was towards the end of his dad's career, but in multiple interviews that I watched to pull this information from, his father didn't want the world to know how old he was. So instead of having Greg come in as his son, he had Greg come in as his brother, uh, just to kind of hide the age gap. He didn't want everyone to know that he was that old enough to have a son that could be in wrestling. So they actually wrestled as brothers for a while, but there was a horrible accident where a bunch of wrestlers got hurt. It was in an airplane ride, and he was one of the wrestlers that got hurt. He actually broke his back, so that pretty much retired his father, Johnny. So the places that loved Johnny, mainly the NWA in the Mid-South area, they wanted Greg to come in to kind of fill his shoes. And Greg talked about it a lot, about how he don't think he could have ever filled his dad's shoes. Um, but he always tried because, you know, he talks about how he was never a high flyer. You know, you might see him get on the top rope once and do one move, and no flippy floppy, just a move off the top rope. But he always wanted to be known as a wrestler, and so that's what he did. He wrestled. But yeah, so he worked the NWA. He was tag team champions with Ric Flair. Actually, he won the tag straps with Ric Flair multiple times. 2 main matches, if you ever dig deep into Greg's career, 2 main matches that he's known for. One, his stint where he was wrestling Chief Jay Strongbow. Oh, no, sorry. Got the wrong guy name. Chief Wahoo McDaniel. His famous match with that, because he ended up breaking Wahoo's leg. And this was after a series of matches with each other. He ends up breaking his leg. And he was the first heel to kind of like monopolize the t-shirt game. Because he kept wearing a shirt that says "I broke Wahoo's leg," and it was one of the most.
That's what I was going to bring up too. I saw that shirt and that just made me laugh like crazy.
Yeah, it's one of the most famous phrases in wrestling, especially back in the day. And I couldn't research it, but I know current day there was a wrestler that just did that and was wearing a shirt that says "I just broke someone's leg." I can't remember what wrestler did it, but it was just the last couple months. But yeah, so he broke Chief Wahoo McDaniel's leg and was known for "I broke Wahoo's leg," and then that was the NWA. Then he shot up to WWF and was actually able to run a program with Bob Backlund, which everyone knows is like the second longest champion in WWF's history. He did a stint with them, and then kind of went back to the NWA. He's another one, kind of like Shane Douglas, that would jump promotions pretty quick. He would stay a year here and then 2 years in there and then come back and forth. So he returned to the WWF in 81, 82, then went back to Mid Atlantic, then back to WWF in 84 through 92. And this is where his popularity really blossomed, I guess you would say, because at this point, Vince McMahon Jr. had pretty much all the promotions, all the territories except for the southern ones, the NWA smaller circuits, which,
Speaking of that,
yeah.
we have a promo of when Greg was with NWA, but he was in, was it Central Florida Wrestling, CFW, doing
Okay.
an elbow promo.
Oh, yeah.
I was able to find the complete promo, so we just don't have that short. We have the whole promo.
All right, perfect. So this body of work, like I was talking about. Oh, you want to go ahead? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. You're talking about the Southern Territories where Vince McMahon Jr. couldn't do anything. This is I just figure it would be funny to poke another thing at old Vince.
Greg, using your elbow as a weapon in the ring is not a happenstance situation. It's something that takes careful training and preparation, as evidenced here.
Yes, Gordon, as you notice, I've only got one board there right now. This is mainly for to get my concentration up, and I'll build up to 4 or even 5 boards. This is Mike Pappas here helping me. I've got 2 boards there.
They're from 1976, by the way.
You're throwing the entire weight of your body down.
Where he got his name from.
Advantage in the gravity situation, but still that elbow is taking a tremendous impact.
That's the to using the elbow smash effectively on opponents is to try to put all your weight into.
I just want to point something out to everybody. Yeah, he's going through those boards, but underneath those boards are 2x4s. So his elbow's getting hit more than just going through those boards because the padding in the rings is only that thick. And I think I'm exaggerating a little bit. It might be even smaller.
Yes.
So he's getting hit a lot more than just the 2 boards he's going through, which aren't 2x4s, but still painful. It all goes to the bumps.
One spot, which happens to be the tip of the elbow. Now I've going to put 3 boards on here. This always takes lots of concentration. You've got to hit right on target. A lot of times before I perfected this this particular workout that I'm doing now, I would miss the boards, and of course they wouldn't break.
Then pinpoint accuracy is very necessary if
Right.
you're going to fell an opponent, as an example.
Right.
Tremendous concentration now.
But you notice I put every ounce of weight into that.
We're seeing this in slow motion now. See the impact and splitting those boards in half. Now again checking, and again you're going to this time going for 4 boards.
Yeah, 4 boards.
No, it's about the size of a
You
2x4.
can see that they're all solid boards. There's a good close-up there. And now the
I've seen this promo before, and I want to agree with it.
Even to the point of wiping your arm off to make sure that the perspiration doesn't
make me slide off the boards.
exactly. A tremendous demonstration.
All right, now go on over to 106 and Albany. Go check out his page. He only has like 50 subscribers or something, but He's trying to bring back the CWF, which is not going to happen, but he's still trying.
Hey, there's a bunch of guys that are trying to bring up,
About a guy
not
who gives 110%
necessarily bring back the
bike.
promotions, but just to talk about the history of the promotions, which is very cool. There's another guy that's, I guess he's kind of local. I think his name is Brian Ferguson. He's got a YouTube. Doesn't have that many subscribers yet either. I don't think. It's been a while since I've been on his page. But he was talking to another promotion that's been kind of defunct for a while. And he just wants to bring the history and let everyone know a little bit about this promotion, you know. And it was a promotion that would go all the way up to Pennsylvania and come down this way. And he's had Herb Simmons on it too, talking about the St. Louis part of the promotion. Anyway, that clip that you had, that's actually where Greg got the name The Hammer. Was driving that elbow down, and they said it was just like a hammer coming down. So that's where he got that nickname, Greg the Hammer Valentine. But like I was saying, 81 through, was it 84 through 92 is his best part, being well known. You know, anytime that you shut down a whole bunch of territories and take away their TV, and then you show one product only, everyone gets to know your name pretty well. So Greg the Hammer was very well known at this time. He took the Intercontinental Championship off of Tito Santana. And there's a little clip on the internet that Greg talks about how he asked Tito where that Intercontinental Championship is, because it was the old style. And Greg had the old style. And when he got beat, they gave Tito the brand new belt. But Tito also had the old belt. And so Tito got to keep the old belt. And so Greg, many years later, asked him, "Where's that old belt? I would like to see it again." And Tito said, "I don't have it." He goes, "My wife got tired of it sitting there collecting dust, and she threw it away." So that was kind of shocking, but good little note there. But after he lost the Intercontinental Championship, he started teaming with the very young Brutus the Barber Beefcake. And you can go back and listen.
All three of those people are going to be with us in May.
Yes. And Brutus had a documentary on him on A&E not too long ago. And you can hear him talking about how he was green as a goose of shit. And Greg is the one that actually had to pretty much train him on the fly. And a lot of times that happens. Like we always, like in the school, we always put a rookie with a veteran, in a tag match scenario first, to kind of help that rookie not just get over, but used to being in the ring, used to doing moves. And, that's what they did with them. And they ended up being a great tag team called the Dream Team. And they ended up winning championship gold. And they actually took it from Demolition, which is one of my favorite tag teams. And they, was one of those things where they dropped it, lost it to him. So it's a couple times he was a WWF tag team champion. And it was actually during his last run when he lost the tag straps that he went up to Vince and complained that he and Brutus wanted another title shot. And that's when the LJN figures started coming out. And he talks about it in many interviews about how he was so pissed off at Vince and he wanted another title shot, went up to him to complain, and Vince turned the situation around, told a different story, and said, "Hey, I had this check for you. It's $125,000. And it was his percentage of his wrestling LJN figure that had been selling." And he said he walked out of there just thinking, "Oh my God, what am I going to do with all this money?" Totally forgot what he went in there for, to complain about the title shots. So it's great to hear that. But yeah,
$125,000 made me forget what I'm thinking too.
Right.
That's
So
125,000 today's money, not back then.
he pretty much well, another great tag team he was in was the Rhythm and Blues with the Honky Tonk Man. And it was a great tag team. It didn't last too long because Greg would tell you when he got pissed off at things, he just up and left the promotion. So that's why he flipped and flopped a couple times. When NWA got bought out by Ted Turner, became WCW, he would flip flop to WCW and come back and back and forth. But in WCW in '92, when he quit wrestling for the WWF, he went to WCW and teamed with Terry Taylor, and they together won the WCW United States Tag Team Championships. But then went back to WWF in '93, back to WCW in '96, and that's pretty much where his mainstay ended. He only did a 1-year deal in WCW, and then he pretty much went on and did the independents. He tells you that he was probably one of the first legends that was able to make a career out of the independents, because he said he went to Japan under the independent flag. He made many appearances in different organizations, and he said he was very much paid well. He went into the WWE Hall of Fame in '04, went into the CAC, Cauliflower Alley Club Hall of Fame in 2018. He still has a Legends deal with the WWE, and he is very proud of that because he was able to work a great Legends deal out where he said that he doesn't have to worry about retirement savings because, of course, again, no wrestler has retirement unless you make a shit ton of money and know how to put it aside, so you'll have it at the end. But not a lot of wrestlers back then did. They spent it as it came. But he was making a lot of money when he was in the WWF and WCW, and he was a little bit wiser with his money. As a matter of fact, just doing a Google search on him, he's still worth about $15 million, which is kind of unheard of for a wrestler from back in the day, unless you're Hulk Hogan, or someone dramatically famous like that.
That's crazy when you consider that he showed up the Belclair Fairgrounds dirt track, race track to wrestle. And
Right.
He's worth $15 million.
Different notes I put down just to make
sure. One I got to mention. You glossed over my favorite match of his. It was Starrcade '83, Flair for the Gold. Him and Roddy Piper in the dog collar match. So that's probably the best dog collar match I've ever seen.
Yes. So I was telling you earlier that there was 2 matches that he was known for. It was breaking Wahoo's leg, and I guess I glossed right over the second match. I didn't say anything about it. Yeah. So funny note, not a funny note, great note. He was one of just a few wrestlers that was in the first Starrcade, but also in the first WrestleMania. Those are the 2 biggest pay-per-views that always battle each other, and he was in the first one of both of them. But yes, his feud with Roddy Piper was very famous because it was such a brutal match. Now, this match was actually thought of by Piper himself. And this match, if you watch, again, I love watching documentaries, but there was a documentary on Roddy Piper. And he is like, before he passed away, he talked about how he was kind of deaf in one ear. And that was because of this match. Because they beat the piss out of each other. And they said that, friends outside of the ring, mortal enemies inside of the ring. And they just, and it happened more than once, but that one that is famous is the one that was on the pay-per-view, Starrcade. But they had multiple dog collar matches between those 2. But definitely Piper and then Wahoo McDaniel. There's a picture I showed you because his most famous match, I like to think, there's a picture I gave you. Hopefully you'll see it. It's a guy with the white mask. Were you able to download that one?
No.
Nope. damn you, that was the best pitcher in the world. That's what made his career. Because that was me in the white mask. He was the first legend that I got to wrestle. And I tell the story many a times, you know, you always go up to the legend or the one that's been in the ring the longest and ask them, you know, basically again what you need to know about the match. You know how, you know, we're both baby faces, so we just wanted to talk. So you know, this is what I do or whatever. And he was telling me, he goes, well, look for this, look for that, look for that. And when we got in the ring, everything that he said went out the door. And it was probably, you know, I hate to say one of my best matches, but it was a very it was a match that I learned the most from. One, because I had an idea of what we were going to do in the ring, and it, like I said, it totally went out the window, and we ended up just doing a totally different match, and it worked. You know, he did, you know, tap me out. You know, did the what was he known for? The finger four leg lock. Yeah, same thing as Ric Flair. So it was a very cool match, and it was an honor for me to be in there with him. But yeah,
I'll slap it up. I'll slap it up there in post.
cool. All right, so this is going to be like a new segment, I guess you would say. Oh, let me just end with Greg the Hammer Valentine. He's going to be at our FanFest 3, so you can meet him. You can talk to him about those two matches and his long career, get his autograph. He does have those shirts. I broke Wahoo's leg, so I don't know if he'll bring those with him, but that'll be something that I wouldn't mind grabbing and picking up. So this is a new segment. I kind of want to give a heads up to all the other. There is so many wrestling companies, toy makers, you know, wrestling toy makers, besides, you know, WWE and AEW. So the first one, you know, I just want to say I am a big collector of wrestling stuff, whether it be, you know, posters or figures or books, DVDs, you know, I collect it all. And there is, if you're a wrestling fan, or if you're an older wrestling fan who doesn't like the current product, these companies aim for everyone. So they're bringing back legends, they're bringing the current stars, but these are like independent wrestling companies, toy companies. So this first one, yeah, it's Title Run Toys. This is one of their lines that is currently pre-ordering. Now, so these independent toy makers, um, you ever heard of fan crowding, where the fans pour in money and they use that money to actually get the figure out and up and running? It's kind of
Yeah,
what they do
either
here.
GoFundMe or crowd.
Yeah. So
crowd.
a lot of these companies, they do pre-orders. So you got to pre-order this stuff, and then that makes them figure out how many they actually need to make, you know. And a lot of these are still companies that will make the product overseas and have it shipped over. So you might pre-order it 1 month, and then 6 months later it comes in. But these are for Title Run Toys. Wrath is this gentleman right here. Other people know him by Adam Bomb in the WWF or WWE. Wrath was his name in WCW. I don't know how they got control over that name, because I thought WWE bought all the rights to everything. But they were able to produce that one.
Is that two Wraths there?
Yeah, so they always make a chase. Not necessarily with every figure, but that Hoot and Toot, that picture right there, I think is the chase. And then there's another figure that they have with a different color scheme. But yeah, so this batch.
That's cool right there. Like, just to touch on that, like, that picture, the mask comes off of the figure too. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
So out of this, you got Raph, you got Junto Guerrero, you got Paul Orndorff, which is the one that I'm going to be purchasing. Anytime that, you know, I feel like I have a special story, talking about a person or dealing with the person, you know, I've never met. Well, no, I'm sorry. I did meet Paul when he came through to Sicw, but just, you know, idolizing him as a kid, getting to talk to his son Travis a couple weeks ago on our podcast. You know, I want to have this figure in my collection just to remember this by. So this is pretty cool that Paul Orndorff is getting a new figure, and then Danny Davis is getting a figure too. Out of this group, I probably will only get the Paul one just because to me he's now special. Danny Davis, he was a wrestler turned referee. His wrestling career wasn't big at all, and so they wanted to move him into a referee spot. So they did that, and then he wrestled a little bit after he was a referee because he became known as like the bad ref or the heel ref. So he did wrestle a little bit after that. But I mean, I like Raph and I like his character Adam Bomb in the WWF. But Paul is going to be the one that I'm going to grab out of the title run companies.
Well, and looking up all the figures of the ones you sent me, I found one I'm definitely going to get. Because it's one that Chris still owes me a picture of, that he still in 3 years hasn't delivered.
So this is a cool set. This is actually by Heels and Faces. Now, they normally make like a Hasbro type of size figure, but they're actually going out on a limb and they're doing, this is the first set. This is a pre-order. So these figures are not in hand right now. Actually, Thursday. So the day that you see this video is the day that you can actually pre-order these. Heels and Faces. How do you pronounce that word? Pinnacle.
Pinnacle.
Pinnacle. Thank you. Still slurred speech, but so this is the first attempt at what you would say is a modern day size figure, kind of like the current WWE product figures.
Yeah, but look at this figure: 3 heads, 2 sets of hands, and you have Abdul licking the blood off his face and one of the heads. That's freaking awesome.
I don't want to sound disrespectful here, but like the detail to this figure, like the saggy side boob, like that's phenomenal detail there.
Yes.
Yeah,
And,
just so you know, we're all friends of Abdul the Butcher. He comes to the Fan Fest. We all talk to him, so it's no disrespect. It's just facts.
you know, talking about Abdul, you know, he's working with DDP right now, and you know, DDP is a saint. He's working with Lex Luger, trying to get both of these guys up and walking again. These guys have been wheelchair bound for a few years now, and I do follow Abdul on his Facebook, and he's talking about how DDP got him up. He's like stumbling the first couple steps, but at least he's able to stand on his own and get out of the wheelchair. So
last year, I didn't see him out of the wheelchair one time.
Well, no. And, you know, that was before DDP, you know, came into his life. But out of this group, you know, the King Kong Bundy, I think looks great. You know, this is, so this one's going to be a rare figure right here. This is the Brian Pillman. Now, they signed him, well, his family signed his family a few years ago, and they finally got this coming out. But look at that. He comes with a gun. Do you remember the promo that he did against Austin where he pulled a gun on Austin? That happened.
I don't remember that at all.
It happened to Austin, I think, broke into, this is when they were doing a lot of skits, and Austin broke into Pillman's house, and Pillman pulled a gun on him. But
That's freaking awesome.
yeah. So this is when Brian Pillman was doing his like crazy type of lunatic fringe type of gimmick. But
and the 3D glasses.
Yeah.
So
But his
what
crazy
makes-
was, I'll kill you crazy.
right, right. And what's cool about this figure is they just announced, Brian Pillman's son just announced that they just signed a Legends deal with the WWE. So he currently has a Legends deal, which they are not permitted to do figures on the side, but they had this contract already. And so this figure is going to get released, but then there's going to be a bunch of WWE figures being released after this, you know?
So this is limited run plus going to be rare because it's the only one that can go through one casting and that's it.
Right.
And I would guess the WWE run will not include a gun.
Yeah, probably not.
So
That's going to be
Just
a
for
one of a
that?
kind, this run only.
You're right, right.
just for that, we should all get this one.
Now, you know, on a note, I was, and I don't know if you were, Bobby, but the night that they announced that he passed away was in St. Louis. And I was there at the show because I think it was a pay-per-view that he no-showed, which was on a Sunday. And I think it was Monday Night Raw the next night. And they finally found out what happened, that he passed in his hotel room, and they announced it that Monday on Raw. So just
Yeah, I'm looking 97. That was what, 4th or 5th grade? I don't really remember too much.
ooh, I just dated myself then. But yeah, so Jeff Jarrett is part of this line, but I'm really excited about the Abdul the Butcher and King Kong Bundy. The Bundy figure, I've always been a fan of Bundy, only because he looks so weird and different, and he was a heel, of course.
Well,
And
then
he
you
was at
all guys have
Popeye.
to stick together.
Yeah, and you know he demanded a 5 count when he pinned you. So instead of getting the 3, he demanded the ref do it 2 more times. But you know, just a kid growing up watching him, he was such a character. He was on he was on the Bundys show, and if you hear the creator of the Bundys loved professional wrestling, and he was their favorite wrestler, and that's why
Well,
they
that's
named
where
it
Al
the Bundy.
Bundy came from, was from King Kong Bundy. It was named
Yes.
after him.
Yeah, so it was, but I also liked him too because I always thought it was weird that 2 guys was named King Kong. You know, King Kong Bruiser Brody, King Kong Bundy. It was very similar in the names, and probably as a child, I probably got them mixed up at one point.
So, being somebody, they were both a little before my time. I've learned about them both since, but as a kid, I thought the names were the same.
Yeah, yeah. Now
Well,
they actually,
I got introduced to this guy through Popeye. So
yeah, yeah. So one cool fact is if you go back into the old WCCW days and watch a lot of their, because they're on Peacock as well under the WWE banner. If you go in there and watch it, they actually wrestled at the same time there in WCCW. But Bundy had a full head of hair. You know, it's kind of crazy to see him because he actually had long hair at one point too. But I think the face sculptures on this figure just look awesome, along with the Abdul the Butcher.
I'll say a lot of those look really good quality.
Yes. Abdul the Butcher, man, that face that has the fork in his mouth, I think is just awesome.
I couldn't even see it. Oh, that one.
Yeah.
On the
Yeah.
bottom, right foot.
yeah, it's right here on the bottom. I don't know. I still like the blood.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Let's move into your ringside.
Yeah, so this is it's actually from AEW, but Ringside Collectibles. What's so special about this particular one is there's a black light in this box, and there's actually a plug-in on the side of the box. So you actually plug this figure in the box. You plug in, yeah, and the black light lights up, and his colorful outfit that he's wearing glows. So this is the first of the kind for this type of figure. So I think it's going to be very cool. It's very collective. And I think anyone who collects wrestling figures is going to love this, just because it's something that you can put in your glass case and have it plugged in, and it's going to shine. So that
Well,
one's
let's
going to
see
be
how
very
much
cool.
it $45.99. You can go to Ringside Collectibles and order it now. Mid-June, you'll get it. You're not going to find this anywhere else. It's
Yeah.
only through this website. Limited
So yeah,
and
this is a
exclusive.
ringside exclusive. And Bobby, I know you missed it, but this figure
Awesome.
plugs in. It actually has a plug-in outlet on the side of the box. You plug it in, and there's a black light in the box. And as it glows, his outfit glows with it. So
Yeah,
this
like
is
all
like,
the entrances.
yeah, so it's going to be very cool. Now you can take this figure out of the box, but the whole special part of it is the box itself. Unless you are still living in the 70s or slash 80s and having a black light in your house to light up those posters for you hippie days. But very cool. And yeah, you can only get it from Ringside. Also from Ringside, if you, I don't know if you got put up that Sabu.
Yeah, one sec, going through, give everybody their close-up view on this here. Keep in mind, everybody, we are not sponsored by any one of these people. We just think they're cool.
I just think they're really awesome figures. Now, there's a whole bunch of figures that I'm not touching up. Ooh, sorry, hiccups. Because LOD, Legion of Doom, just got a new figure set that's very popular right now. It's um, in the regular red outfits, but they also come out in a chase variant that has gray. They're very popular. People are getting them right now. It's like one of the top 10 figures. Yeah, here it is. This is Bell to Bell, and this is Sabu. Um, you know, Sabu has a couple figures from TNA, WWE, and of course ECW. But I think this figure looks really damn cool.
You're
His,
not gonna find a better backside of a package than this one right here. That's
and mental note for everyone that's going to the Fan Fest, Sabu will be there. So this would be a good
Yep.
figure to pick up and have him autograph for you. But his headdress comes off, and the details on his forehead are there.
Look at all the scars there.
Yeah, the scars on his forehead are there. Scars on his body. His pants are what they call cloth goods. So
There's his scars on his forehead for everybody who wanted to see.
So very cool figure. And yeah, you can get him at Ringside as well, but that's under Bell to Bell. It's a different line. Very cool. Like I said, I would pick him up. I haven't picked him up yet. Still debating. But it would be cool to pick him up and have him autographed. Kind of like how I'm going to have.
1999, and it's ready to ship now, people. It is in
Yeah.
stock. So grab it, get it shipped to you, bring it in May, have Sabu sign it. I mean, you're going to get a signed figure all total for $50. I think what Sabu only charges 30 per signature with her.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what their autograph rates are because everyone's going to be different. But yeah, there should be.
Again, this one's awesome anyway.
Yeah. There should be one more set of pictures. Yeah, here we
Yeah,
go.
this is, I know you want to go through them, but this is the one I'm definitely going to get. And it's this one with Andre and, of course, the Ultimate Warrior mask.
So I talk a lot about the major podcast. Brian Myers and his other buddy, which is Matt Cardona, they're changing everything. They started with their own little YouTube channel where they went and bought toys, and then created a podcast, then created their own toy line. Now they created their own beer called Garage Beer. I haven't had it yet, but I'm gonna pick up some. But yeah, so they have big rubber guys, and then they also have major bendies, which is a smaller version, which is more of a rubberish that you can play around with. But they have big rubber guys, and yeah, Andre the Giant is definitely one with the Ultimate Warrior face paint. Right now, you have until the 31st of this month to get Demolition. And Demolition is another one that just signed a Legends deal. So this is probably going to be the last way to get Demolition out of like the WWE banner. So they have all three members. They have Axe, Smash, and Crush.
Here's Axes, has his Road Warrior mask.
Well, yeah. So you can't say Road Warrior because that's different tag team, even though they're kind of based off of the Road Warriors.
Well, Road Warrior from the movie.
Right. There you go.
The one with Tina Turner, that dude wore that mask.
But this is,
come on now.
Yeah, this is definitely a set that I probably will be picking up because I really love Demolition.
And there's Smash again.
So you can get these at collectmajor.com. I actually picked up one already. I picked up a Dusty Rhodes. Dusty never had a LJN, so this is what they've been trying to do, is creating LJN figures for people that didn't get their figure made back in the day. But it's the same kind of style, it's the hard rubber. So Dusty Rhodes is now in my collection. This one's very cool because a lot of his figures didn't, have the birthmark that he had. But I love the boots. And he always was kind of offsetting with his elbow pad. So his elbow pad was a different color than his knee pads and his boots. But very cool that I was able to pick him up. And the whole line is really good. They have a Harley race that I want to pick up in the future. Of course, the Andre the Giant.
I'm going to be picking that one up. I may pick up the one you have because it's one of only 800. So
they have the Road Warriors as well. Those are newer ones that they just did. But
I have to compliment Matt, even though he always rejects coming on the podcast. Well, he doesn't reject; he just winks.
Yeah.
But the detail on that belt is pretty nice.
Yeah. So they actually have a story about this Harley race one. So they went to, everyone that they make a figure of, they go to that family and they try to sign a deal with them. And they try to get everything that they can detailed wise, what kind of boots they wore, what color schemes they wore, if they had tattoos, where were they, and what were they. And so one of his tattoos on his forearm is actually in the wrong spot. And so they actually talked about that, how they sent proofs of this figure to the families beforehand, and no one caught it. And it just happened to be a fan that actually caught it and said, hey, that tattoo's in the wrong spot. But one of his tattoos, I think it's the one on his right arm, is actually more on top of the top part of your arm, not on your. It's weird to explain it, but
bicep right here.
No, instead of like how my Guns N' Roses tattoo is on the inside, his is more on the top part.
Oh, okay, I got you.
But how they have it here instead.
More on the helmet, right up on top.
But
Earl has himself one. Yeah, that's nice.
So like I said, they and look at this section right here. They're not up for pre-order yet.
There you go, Bobby.
Missy Hyatt, who is coming to our fan fest.
She'll be there too.
Yeah, this will be her very first figure. Now she's been in the wrestling forever. I mean, 30 plus years. And this is only her first one. But if you can go back to that section you're just on before you hit Missy Hyatt, go back down. Oh, actually, there it is right there. That very first one right there. They're coming out with a Bruiser Brody. They're coming out with Haku, the Texas Tornado, Kerry Von Erich. So right now it's Demolition, but their next set is going to be those four right there. So definitely be picking up that Haku one, probably picking up definitely that Bruiser Brody, and maybe that Kerry Von Erich.
You know it's not going to be a maybe. You're going to get it.
Yeah, I know, but I'm cheap, so I don't do it all at one time. But
then there's, let's see, they have a lot.
oh yeah,
Another Jeff Hardy. Gee, how'd they ever get Matt Cardona in there?
well, Brian Myers has his ones in there as well, but I just love it because it's the same style of figures that I'm trying to complete. The LJ in line, and yeah, there's a Ric Flair right there.
Who's that in the red trunks next to Flair?
That's Tully Blanchard.
Totally Blanchard. So the Ric Flair and the Dusty both have variants that you can buy. There's a bloody Ric Flair, so there's one with blood all over the place and in his hair and everything, which is pretty cool looking.
Yeah, but look at this. They got Tully's taco meat everywhere in here. They just didn't paint it.
It's part of his signature.
Yeah, they didn't paint it.
Dusty has a different color scheme. So they make some variants, as they call them, or chases that they even do little numbers on. But yeah, so Rick Martel is going to get one. It's been forever since Rick Martel had a figure. Mainly because he never leaves Canada. But
Arm's getting one.
So yeah, definitely very cool. If you're into collecting wrestling figures, hit these other promotions, companies up. They might cost a little bit more. Like these ones here, they're normally about $50 a piece. But if you ever watch their podcast, they talk about how, as a small company, the more that you order, so like WWE, when they order, say like the newest John Cena figure, they probably order 100,000 of them, and of course that drives the price down, because you're buying in bulk. Well, these smaller companies can't really buy in bulk because they're small companies, so it does make the figures a little bit more expensive. But as you can tell, the quality is there, and it's definitely worth the figures. Yeah, so there's a bunch of figures that I'm probably get my hands on eventually, and then I'll showcase them. But kind of getting towards the end of this thing here, and I want to show my biggest purchase that I've bought. Now, previously I showed you Thunderlips, Hulk Hogan's Thunderlips that I had autographed, and it was pretty cool. I got him to autograph it in person, met him, and I think I told you the stories about that. But I thought it was be very cool, and I just stumbled on what's the name of it?
Pristine Auctions.
Pristine Auctions. First time I ever been on it, and I about flipped when I seen a big yellow wrestling boot autographed by Hulk Hogan. And I thought, well, hell, in a collection about wrestling, the best things that you can own is something that they've worn or something that goes along with their character. And a big yellow boot from Hulk Hogan. I mean, he's known for that yellow and red, And so I was able to bid on one of them, and I was able to get it. So I won the bid. I ain't going to say how much I spent, but it was definitely well worth it. It's a big old wrestling boot. Comes with the papers, and I put them in the back too, so I wouldn't lose them. Of course, I bought this case off of Amazon, but I kept the papers because I want there to be proof that this is his autograph, and I kept everything for it. It's all in there.
Yeah,
But
the pristine auction's really good about including a certificate of authenticities with it.
yeah,
Whether
so
it be they use JSA and Beckett a lot.
being being a fan of Hulk Hogan right now, some people are, some people aren't. You know, people don't like him right now because his political views and his racist comments a couple of years ago. But growing up as a kid in the 80s, no one was bigger than Hulk Hogan. And out of all my figures, I probably have a lot of Hulk Hogan's compared to anyone else. But also, he is the biggest star, and he went to everywhere. He was in WWF, WCW, TNA. The only place he hasn't been is AEW, but that's probably because he's got probably like a lifetime contract with the WWF or WWE right now. Kind of like Taker. Taker's got pretty much a lifetime contract with them. Because he was going to retire, and they're like, you know what, we can still use you. And definitely, if you ever seen his one-man show, he puts on a great show. But yeah, so this was my top purchase of the year, I would say, because this is definitely going to be a great addition to my collection.
It's your happy birthday present to yourself?
Yeah, just 10 months early.
Or is it only 3 months late?
Oh, there you go. There you go. But I hope you liked, for everyone watching, I hope you liked this little news segment. I just thought it would be very cool. And, we kind of dabbled in it. Never showed you pictures. I might have talked about them or showed you what I picked up. But I think this is a cool way to give you guys a little bit of knowledge about the figures and where to get them. And some of these, like, the demolition from the big rubber guys, after the 31st, they're going to stop making them. So you have up until the 31st to order them. But once they're ordered and they're sold, then you're looking for eBay, and God knows that eBay likes, the people on eBay like to get the most for their product, so they always jack those prices up. So just be aware of search around, Google toy manufacturers for wrestling, and get a hold of some of these these smaller companies like Title Run or Heels and Faces, and get some of these that are very cool, very detail oriented, and some of them are cheaper. Like the Sicw, you said it was only like $18 or $19.
$19.99.
Yeah, and then like I said, FanFest. Most of these guys are going to be there, and you can get their autographs. And Demolition is normally there every year in Iowa, so you can go to Iowa where SICW is taking over and get their autographs there. But yeah, so just to wrap it up, appreciate everyone for subscribing again. It was very cool that we were able to gain back the ones we lost, and hope the new ones like it and want to share and help us grow, because every podcast starts out small, and we definitely were small for a little bit, but we're finally getting up there. Not big as Matt Cardona or the major podcast, but one day we might have our own beer, and that would be great. Anything from you guys?
No, that's good. We just have some good matches coming up, ones that are some of the very first matches ever filmed.
Sweet.
One of Gorgeous George's first matches ever filmed.
Side note on Gorgeous George, he was probably the first well-known professional wrestler, because when he first came out, Lou Thez had already been wrestling and everything, but when he first came out is when the TV actually first started coming out, and all the TV channels wanted to fill their time, and so they put wrestling on, and he was the first one that was a little flamboyant. but it got him known. And
A little. The man sprayed perfume or cologne all over the ring before he got in there. That's more than a little.
well,
He just wanted to smell nice.
right. But yeah, so if that's it, I guess we'll see you Saturday at the Shriners. Like I said, doors open at 4, bell time's at 5. But until next week.
Children 12 and under get in for free, so bring them all on in.
Yes.
Parents get some beer, kids get some fun things to watch, family friendly.
There you go. All right, gentlemen. Until next week, we'll see you later. Thank you for subscribing, and please like, share, and spread the word for everyone at the Squared Ring Podcast. Have a good night.
Good night.